One of the most important lessons I've learned in life, and it took me many years to understand this fully, is that everything counts. Every word you speak, every action you take, every habit you build, every decision you delay, it all counts. You are never neutral. You are either moving toward your goals or away from them. The moment I accepted that, my life changed. You see, most people treat their lives like a dress rehearsal. They think they'll get around to it. They wait for the right time. But here's the truth. There is no right time. There is only now. And the difference between high performers and average performers is not talent, it's urgency. It's the deep inner sense that this matters now. I remember being in my early 30s, sitting alone in a hotel room after giving a seminar. It went well, but I wasn't fulfilled. I had spoken to 300 people, but I felt I hadn't really connected. I realized I was going through the motions. I was repeating the same ideas without feeling them. So I stopped everything and asked myself, why am I doing this? That question was a turning point, because when your why is clear, your how becomes easier. You gain strength. You gain resilience. You begin to walk differently, speak differently, think differently. That night I made a promise to myself, never go through the motions again. Speak with intention. Live with purpose. Treat every day like it's your last day on earth, but your first day as the best version of yourself. And since then I've tried to show up fully wherever I am. Whether it's a small group or a stadium full of people, whether it's a phone call with a mentee or dinner with my family, because how you do anything is how you do everything. Excellence is not an act, it's a habit. And that brings me to something else I want to share with you. Something that shaped my life more than perhaps anything else. The compound effect of tiny discipline. Most people overestimate what they can do in a day, and they underestimate what they can do in a year. The real winners in life are not those who sprint, it's those who never stop walking. You don't have to do everything, you just have to do one right thing over and over again. Write 500 words a day, and in 6 months you'll have a book. Read for 30 minutes a day, and in a year you'll have read over 25 books. Save a little each month, and in 5 years you'll have a financial cushion. It's not about the size of your action, it's about the consistency. I used to think success came in bursts. The big win, the lucky break, the perfect idea. But now I know it comes in inches. It's built slowly, patiently, with intention. Discipline is freedom. It's the ability to make a promise to yourself and keep it. I still wake up at 5 a.m. I still plan my day the night before. I still review my goals every morning. Not because I have to, but because I want to. Because when you treat yourself with discipline, you start to trust yourself. And when you trust yourself, you become unstoppable. But that didn't come naturally to me. I was not born organized. I was not born motivated. I trained myself. I built the habits, one by one. And that's why I'm here to tell you, you can too. Maybe no one ever told you that. Maybe you've been doubting yourself. Maybe you think success is for other people. But let me be the one to say it to you now. You can become anything you decide to become. You can reinvent yourself at any age. I didn't write my first book until I was in my 40s. I didn't start my international company until much later in life. Some of the most successful people I know didn't begin until after 50. It's never too late. All it takes is a decision, a moment of truth, a new standard. And when you raise your standards, the world will rise to meet you. But you have to commit, burn the boat, eliminate the back doors. Stop giving yourself permission to fail quietly. If you want to change your life, change your identity. Start telling a new story. I am disciplined. I am focused. I am worthy. I am building my best life now. And when the old voice creeps in, that voice that says you can't, or you're not good enough, you tell it that version of me is gone. I'm not who I used to be. I'm becoming something greater. Because your thoughts create your emotions. Your emotions drive your action. And your actions shape your destiny. If you want a different future, plant different thoughts. And here's a thought I planted long ago, one that has carried me through every season of life. I am responsible. Not my parents, not my boss, not the government, not the economy. When you take 100% responsibility for everything in your life, you reclaim all your power. Yes, it's uncomfortable. Yes, it's hard, but it's the price of freedom. You cannot control what happens to you, but you can always control what you do next. That's your power. That's your leverage. That's how you turn pain into purpose, fear into fuel, and obstacles into opportunities. Every great leader I've met, from business to sports to the military, they all had one thing in common. They took full responsibility for their results. No excuses, just ownership. And from that ownership came power. You can do the same. Start today. Don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for the perfect time. Take action in spite of doubt, in spite of fear. Just take the next step, because motion creates momentum. Action creates clarity. Courage creates results. You are one decision away from a completely different life. One phone call, one routine, one breakthrough, one moment of truth. Don't wait for the world to change. Be the one who changes. Be the one who rises. Be the one who leads, not just others but yourself. The world is waiting for your best. You know, there's something most people never talk about on the road to success: loneliness. Not in the emotional sense necessarily, but in the sense of being misunderstood. When you decide to improve your life, when you start setting goals, waking up earlier, pushing harder, saying no to distractions, and yes to your future, you'll notice something strange. People pull back. Some people will question you, some will mock you, some will quietly resent you. You're changing, and your growth makes them uncomfortable. At first, this bothered me. I used to try to explain myself, to convince others that what I was doing was good, that I was chasing something meaningful. But eventually, I learned the truth. Not everyone is meant to go where you're going. Growth requires solitude. Not isolation, but focus. When you're building something great, the noise of the world must become background. You must become okay with walking alone for a while, because that's where clarity lives. That's where strength is built. I remember when I was working on one of my first books, I would sit at my desk for hours, early mornings, late nights, weekends. While others were relaxing, I was writing. While others were watching television, I was researching. I missed parties. I missed outings. But do you know what I gained? Purpose, pride, power. Not power over others, power over myself. That's the ultimate form of success. When you control your thoughts, your time, your emotions, and your energy, you become unstoppable. That's why I tell people, discipline is destiny, not talent, not luck. Discipline, the ability to do what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it, especially when you don't feel like it. You see, there's a moment in every day where your future is decided. It's that moment when you hear the voice in your head saying, just skip it today. You've done enough. Take it easy. And if you listen to that voice too many times, it becomes your identity. But if you do the opposite, if you say, no, I said I'd do it, so I will, that also becomes your identity. And over time, you begin to believe in yourself at a level that no outside motivation can match. Self-trust is built in the small moments. I've worked with millionaires, Olympians, CEOs, and Navy SEALs, and I'll tell you the truth. The elite aren't always the most gifted. They're just the most consistent. They've mastered the art of showing up, and they've stopped negotiating with their inner critic. You must stop negotiating with your limitations. You must truly decide what kind of life you're going to live, and then start living it today. Not someday, not when you're ready. To start walking like the person you want to become. Start thinking like that person, speaking like that person, moving like that person. Because identity is not something you're born with, it's something you build. When I was starting my business, I would visualize myself as a successful entrepreneur. I didn't feel like one. I didn't look like one. But I walked into meetings as if I was already there. I acted as if, and slowly the world began to respond. I wasn't faking it, I was becoming it. You can do the same. Begin where you are with what you have and who you are now. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to be committed. Now let me tell you something very important. Success will test you. It will test your patience. It will test your relationship. It will test your character. Because the journey to the top will bring out everything inside you, the good, the bad, and the unhealed. That's part of the process. I've lost deals. I've had people betray me. I've had launches fail. I've had years where nothing seemed to work. But here's what I've learned. Life doesn't test you to destroy you. It tests you to develop you. Obstacles aren't blocks, they're blueprints. Every time I hit a wall, I asked what's the lesson, and the more I focused on the lesson, the faster I grew. Growth hurts sometimes, but stagnation destroys. So when life is stretching you, thank it. You're being refined, strengthened, elevated. When I teach others now, I always tell them, be grateful for your struggles. That means you're in the arena, you're doing the work. You're not watching from the sideline, and that already puts you ahead of 90% of the world. Most people avoid discomfort, but the successful, they chase it. Do one hard thing every day. Train yourself to lean into resistance. Call the difficult client. Go to the gym when it rains. Read when you're tired. Wake up before the world does. Each time you do, you build grit. And grit, not genius, is the #1 predictor of long-term success. The world doesn't need more perfect people, it needs relentless people. People who keep going. People who fall and rise again. People who carry their dream forward, even when it feels heavy. Be one of those people. And if you're tired, if you're struggling, let me say this directly to you. You're doing better than you think. If you're still showing up, if you still care, if you're still trying, you're already ahead of where you were yesterday. Don't you dare quit now. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to keep moving forward. Because as long as you keep taking the next step, the path will appear. And one day, not long from now, you'll look back and say, that was the moment everything changed. That was the day I decided. That was the day I became the person I was meant to be. And when that day comes, you'll realize it was all worth it.